Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the final word. Watford 2, Everton 3. 3 points, big win. Joined by Patrick Ridge, journalist. Yeah, big Evertonian.
Yeah.
2-0. I didn't think we'd be sat here today talking about a victory, but a great late winner from Theo, and
Yep.
happy days.
Yeah, about time, wasn't it, really? I can't remember the last time we had like a last minute win like that that felt like that. But yeah, 2-0 down. I was thinking, after the Newcastle result. And I'd convinced myself that was the season done then, that, it all turned in that
It's,
1 minute. So kind of...
Have the faith.
Yeah, well, it's kind of gone to the polar opposite of, I think it's turned back now in the space of 2 minutes, 5 minutes really at the end of the first half, and 10 seconds on the break at the end of the second.
And
so.
what we went with. Obviously, Everton welcomed a few players back. Carlo Ancelotti, having the break after the Newcastle game, it allowed us to get Alex Iwobi back. It allowed us to get Richarlison back. And we also saw... Who else come back? Richarlison, Iwobi, Moise Keane dropped out. We had Gylfi Sigurdsson back, didn't we? As captain, ironically, in the middle of the park. So it was good to beef the squad up. Obviously, we've seen Tom Davies and Anthony Gordon, who've been in and around the squad for the last couple of weeks. They dropped out of the 18. And when you looked at it, obviously Watford, big physical side, good side, physical side. There was no real surprise that the manager went with the likes of Gylfi Sigurdsson and had Schneidlin on the bench because of that physical, and Alex Iwobi in for Bernard.
Yeah, I mean, because Bernard had played really well against Newcastle, hadn't he? And so when I first saw the team sheet, that was the one change I was surprised at, really. Wasn't, as soon as I heard that Sigurdsson were going to be fit, I was like, well, yeah, he'll start him. Just because I think that he'd want, the set pieces were always going to be key. And, obviously both of Mina's goals come from a set piece, and then the only really good chance we had was Sigurdsson in the second half, putting that cross that Dom heads back onto a Watford player. Yeah. But so I think that no surprise really to see him in. Moise Keane, there was obviously a bit of thing like, can you drop him after he'd scored? But my feeling was always that, if anything, that's probably a fine time to drop him. He's got that confidence, and he's not really dropping. It's just going to the bench, and he was always going to be the first or second sub. First sub if we needed a goal, which he was. So and you're bringing him on with that confidence, so it's not really an issue. And you need your best player playing. You need Richarlison playing. Whether he had a good game or not, he offers us so much. So the only change I was really surprised by was kind of, it will be coming back in. But then, once I thought about it, it's that physical side of it. Bernard had weaved in and out, but would have been able to get in the game enough because of the size of Watford. It will be, toiled at times, I think. I don't think he's, like I said, I think he plays, how he plays is very erratic, but he actually had a good game. And it was just kind of, when he did get involved, maybe everything he tried didn't come off, but at least he was trying that thing. So
I think that's the thing with Iwobi, and people have made the judgments on him and whatever, some people. And there's this, misconception certainly over the weekend that he gave the ball away a lot, and he didn't. He was Everton's second highest pass completion rate with 86%. So the few passes that went astray were in the final third. Didn't lose the ball in our half. Made 5 ball recoveries, which was the second highest in our team. So I don't know what people are watching, but I don't know whether it's a judgment that they're making subconsciously about him. But it's certainly not what he does. And he was at 0-0. He was the first person to create an opportunity down the left-hand side. Great little run, lovely ball back to Richarlison, and he fired it over the bar. And it's little passes like that, I think, that Iwobi will come into his own. It was also Carlo Ancelotti's first game that he's had him. He's not had him before. And I think what he'll do is he'll use him and Bernard in them role where we were talking off air before, and we were saying, one of his wingers runs in straight lines and the other one he wants to cut in. We've seen that happen with Bernard a lot lately, and he's been devastating with it, certainly against Newcastle. And I think Iwobi will do the same. Off that left-hand flank, he'll want him to come in and be central, almost in the 10 position.
And then it is, I do think with Iwobi, he's a moments play in the sense, not in the sense that he doesn't work hard, because he does, but it's those moments when he gets in between the lines that you want him to have. So I get where people's frustrations come from sometimes, because those 5 or 6 passes that he didn't complete were probably in that situation. And you're like, if you can just get that final ball. But the point is that he's there to do it in the first place, and it will come. It's his first game back. He looked knackered after an hour, but I expected that.
Yeah.
And we needed someone with that size in. We just haven't got the options at the moment to be able to be, slating players like that and writing them off. So
I think he's 23. I think Ancelotti will sort him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
it is. It's getting that. Once he gets that composure to his game, but that comes with match fitness as well, and he has been out for a month now. So, and that's a month, but it's 10 games, isn't it?
Exactly. So. We had Kevin Campbell in last week or the week before, and he was talking about. We asked him about Iwobi, and the thing is, he's gonna give the ball away because he's the player that's trying to break the lines. He's a player that's trying to thread people through. So you've almost got to just accept that that's part of his game. If he starts doing it in and around our penalty area, then fair enough, call him, and I understand that. Or if people are committing and he's under it in a pass and they're breaking on us. But when he's at the forefront of our attacks and he's trying to thread balls through to Richarlison or Moise Keane or Dom, sometimes it'll come off and other times it won't. And that's those players, you have to allow that. Bernard's similar. You have to allow the fact that they're going to give the ball away at times because they're the ones trying to break it up. Ross Barkley used to do it. And sometimes he'd hesitate in the chance of go and people are getting his back. But since Barkley left, we've had no one like him who can run. And I think Iwobi's the closest we've got
and
to that
was actually probably my main frustration with him the other day. When I saw he didn't pick up the ball and run with it enough. But I think it's the type of game that it was for one. It was very congested. And an away game is obviously different to a home game. You get a bit more space with the way that we've been playing at home. Away, we still haven't got that confidence. Hopefully, we do now. So that would be. I wanted him to get on and drive because we don't have anyone other than him who can do that. We have been not playing anyway. Bernard was on the bench, and obviously it's a different. Iwobi's more about power. Bernard's more about trickery and guile, and obviously Gomez still isn't fit. So, I think he played fine. Again, I don't think anybody had a particular. I really don't think anyone had a bad game other than Delph. And Delph had probably 2 bad moments, which has cost him and nearly cost us, and we were lucky that it didn't. But other than that, I think everyone just played fine. It was a game that you'd think, we're winning 3-2 away from home, that someone had a superb performance, but I don't think anyone did really, apart from Mason Holgate. Mina played well, but there's certainly question marks. But I think it was just everyone was like a 6 to 7 out of 10, and I'd count Iwobi in that. He did some good things, did some bad things, but that's where we're at at the moment.
Well, it's consistency, and obviously you've got a world-class manager. You'd have his job is to improve players, and we saw that with obviously. We've seen that across the park, haven't we? When you get a top manager, then how we can improve players who people are maybe flipping a coin about. We went behind. The merits of the goal people can question, whereas who should have been doing what.
I think, like we said off air as well, there's probably 3 or 4 mistakes in there, and they're only little mistakes from each player. I don't think anyone's really to blame.
No,
there's no glaringly obvious thing. I think we lose the battle in midfield, which was always going to be important, and they've got 3 massive players in there in Capoue, Decore and Shelbar that they had. And he scrap it down on the touchline, Capoue gets it, and he gets out of his feet, and he picks a really good pass over to Deulofeu, who's drifted wide. Walcott hasn't tracked his run. Sidibe's on Dini and probably should be calling to Walcott, but at the same time he's concentrating. The rest of the defence has shifted across because the ball was on that side. And Deulofeu's taking it down and he's got the thing, and then when Walcott gets back, he doesn't track the run. And he's probably one of those finishers that if he hits it where he means to, I think it's a save.
Yeah.
I do think both, once getting there, Walcott can do better to block the run. Mina could probably do more to try and block the shot, but he probably just can't get there. Maybe if it had been a yard sharper, it's kind of that yard in your head, isn't it, that he lacked on that occasion. And then Pickford could probably do that extra reach. So I think it's little bits added up. I don't think anyone made a glaring mistake.
No, I mean, it's a good ball out. Great control from Gerard Deulofeu. Lovely first touch. And for me, we're okay. Sidibe gets across. And Walcott goes and screens as well. But the problem what Walcott does is he gets himself initially into a decent position.
Yeah.
But he looks to his right shoulder to see who's behind him instead of looking left, because he should be tracking Messina, who's the fullback, and he doesn't. He looks the wrong way, so he looks and there's no one there, so he thinks I'm okay. Whereas if he glances to the left, he sees the
Messina
run and he can drop in then, and then Deulofeu hasn't got that pass.
Yeah.
But because he looks the wrong way, Walcott, and leaves a gap, Delafeu just pops it off, and you're right, then after that, can Mina get across? I'm not sure, because I think if he hits it, Mina blocks it, goes into the floor and under him.
It's one of those.
And then Pickford dives, and it seems to drop under his hand.
I think the way that I'd maybe describe it with Pickford and Mina is I think they both hesitate for a split second. Mina probably thinks, if I get there, am I going to do a Jags and deflect into the top corner like Jagielka always used to love to do? Or Pickford maybe thinks Mina's going to get there. So he's one of them, it's like
half mistakes, isn't it, really? And I suppose, listen, every goal ever scored, you can break everything down, and our goals you can as well. So we went one behind, but I thought we done all right. We seemed to get the confidence didn't seem to go at that stage. We got the ball down, started knocking it round again.
Yeah, there were a few little bits and pieces, weren't there? I think we had that.
Yeah, the good header from Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah,
it was a comfortable catch.
Yeah, it was just one of them. Obviously, if the goalkeeper had been wrong-footed at all, it'd have been going in. But it was no real chances. But we were getting a foothold in the game. I don't think we'd been battered at all. We were just we probably lacked a bit of urgency, I think, in our play. And there was one moment where Delph actually did really well. He got round his man and he drilled forward. It was brilliant. And we had he had Iwobi, Richarlison, Walcott and Calvert-Lewin and he just gave the ball away. And it was like, is it going to be one of those days? I don't think Delph's game got any better from there.
That was so frustrating because he'd done brilliantly, nipped in front, skipped
and that's
down
the first time I've seen him do it.
And drove, and it was like, this is brilliant, now find the shirt. And if
the thing is,
if he finds a shirt, we're in on Ben Foster with 3 or 4 of us, and it was, you're right, there was a bit too much of that from a lot of players. They do the hard work, get to the final third, meet sloppy, give the ball away, or we'd stop and come back and go back.
With our players sometimes, and the best teams just, they're thinking one step ahead of the opposition maybe, but they're not thinking one step ahead of themselves. They know that they've got to focus first on doing what they do. With our players, and I think with some of it is experience, like the one player I don't think who does it is Richarlison, because I think he's just got that mentality where he's just focusing on what he's doing right there and then. And that's why when push comes to shove in the big moments, I think you can trust him above any other player we've got. But Calvert-Lewin definitely does it. Davis has done it. Keane does it to an extent. But then your more experienced players like Sigurdsson, Walcott, Delph, like they kind of think, oh, we've done this, and then it's like they're thinking of the next step. We're just focused on getting to that next step first. The rest will sort itself out. So I think that's what Delph were doing. He thought, oh, I've got all these people ahead of me, and he was already thinking about when I lay it off, what am I going to do? And it was just that kind of one moment.
Taking care of the ball. Yep. We've done all the hard work, nipped in, drove brilliantly, and we haven't seen an Everton midfield player drive like that. That's what we're missing.
Yeah, since Gomez.
That's what we're missing, someone who can go through the gears, and he left them for that. You know what? When you look at Delph, I actually thought he was all right Saturday. He'd done a lot of good work. But then stupidity ended up undoing his game. So everything he's done before, that's all right. Is now you have to look at and go, well, sorry, we can't trust you. You're supposed to be an experienced man.
I'm going to be honest, I've been really disappointed with Delph. And I don't want it. I actually think because he's been a new signing that he's got cut a lot of slack. But I honestly can't think of any games that he's been particularly better than Schneiderlin or Sigurdsson. But I will I think the Wolves game, his full debut in the Premier League was really, really good. And he did have Gomez alongside him, and I think that's a massive factor. He hasn't had our best midfielder alongside him, but at the same time, I want to see him take some responsibility. We've had the makeshift midfield, but he's been fit and playing in it recently. It's like, well, come on, you've won 3 Premier League titles, and he was brought. If he wasn't brought in to be in a leadership role, but he was specifically brought for that. There'd be no other reason that we were signing him. No. We didn't sign him to be Garner's replacement. We signed him actually as an additional player because we lacked that experienced head, and he'd let us the second Watford goal, which obviously I know we'll get to. But this is my thing with Delph. I think he kind of plays safe sometimes in his head. Yeah. And I don't get it because at City, I can't imagine that that's what they do. No. Maybe he's just trying to adapt to his surroundings and he's thinking that he's got to, because maybe he's brought into place, but maybe he's thinking he's got to play safe. But Watford, I guess, he's like that half second of taking his eye off the ball, trying to then play a safe pass and completely getting it wrong. And I just don't think he ever got his head right after that again, which... Yeah.
Like I say, he'd had a couple of those moments where he'd nicked in and competed quite well in the midfield, and I don't think we were under any real pressure. I thought Sigurdsson done all right, he cycled the ball well. Goal. Yeah. And then the second, it's 1-0 and we were getting higher up the pitch. Dean had gone on a couple of overlaps and it hadn't quite come off. and you're thinking, all right, you know, we're still in this. We're not playing very well, but you know the manager's going to tinker with it and whatever. And then that goal you know, we give the ball away stupidly. Pereira knocks it inside. It goes up in the air, and then it's Delph. And it's either clear it with your right foot. And get rid of it and get set.
Or take it down.
Because
he's got the time.
He tries a little wall pass, but he puts it between Holgate and Mina.
Straight to Deeney.
It's to neither of them, and Deeney's in. You know, and Pereira goes off. He lays it off, and it's a great finish. You know, and Mina almost gets there. Pickford has to make him, you know, a decision. I can't blame either of them. It's back of the net, and it's 2-0 from nothing, and you're thinking, that's, you know, we're contributing to our own downfall by
the two dreadful goals conceded.
2 poor goals, because if we'd have just... Certainly the first one is switching off and it goal, and like I said before, every goal you can point to where, unless someone scores a worldie from nowhere, you can blame someone for a goal that you concede, obviously. But the second goal was just sloppy play. It can be prevented, the same as Newcastle's goals the other week. It can be prevented, and I guess that's what Carlo Ancelotti will be working on with them. But someone like Delph, you're right, that experience, what I thought he'd bring is the leadership, but playing in that Manchester City team, which was unbelievable, and he's played in it for so long.
Composure.
And being under Guardiola, they never panic. You know, or, well, they are at the moment, but in general, he haven't panicked. And I would have thought that those moments, he would have brought clarity to the team and really showed them what you do in those difficult moments.
I think it maybe, obviously there was that big thing about, you know, the basics of football and things like that, and in the Man City documentary, and I actually just think, I hope he don't message me on Instagram now, but I actually just think, you know, that he's just a bit of a loudmouth, and honestly, I've been really, really unimpressed by him. I want him to be that player for us. I want him to improve. I want all of our players to play well. But, you know, if there was one signing out of all the signings that I think we've made,
there's a bit of a question.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Listen, the other thing, in his defence, what I would say about Fabian Delph is he's not really been fit all season, so he's had a stop-start.
And again, he hasn't been in that midfield. No. I don't think he was brought in to be a first-choice midfielder either. No, or if he did, it would be in a 3.
Utility player,
exactly. So I just want him when he is playing
to be better.
I want him to be better, and I know that he's got the experience to do it. So, you know, we'll obviously.
Well, listen, it is what it is. You know, he's got to learn from it. You know, you're learning all the time. Every time you play football, you learn something, and he's got to learn that. 2-0, it looked, like I said right at the start of the show, you know, you're thinking, you know, these beat us, there's 4 points between us, you know, and these in the bottom 3. You don't know what's happening, where anything's coming from, and then Everton get a corner. You know, Mason Holgate puts a arrow ball in towards Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it's cleared, I think, by Cathcart. It goes out for a corner. You don't hold any real hope with Everton set pieces, because
Wonstein puts it in a good area.
We're not great, but great ball in. Mina makes a nuisance of himself. Holgate and Calvert-Lewin are there, and Yerry Mina pokes it in, and he's been getting closer. In the preview, I'd said he'd had, prior to Saturday, he'd had 19 attempts at goal, which is the most without scoring than anyone this season. So he was off the mark. Good finish from close range. He's still thinking a VAR going to intervene here.
Well, I would convince, like when I saw it, I didn't hear the commentary or anything, but I was thinking, are they going to give it for a handball?
But it was there, wasn't it?
Luckily,
when you see it again, it's hit his chest, luckily. And he's poked, because we'd had one where VAR had looked at a Luca Dean tackle for a possible red card, and it's just
and then
like,
they'd done the Watford play straight after.
Then the Watford play, and you're like, what's going on here? Nonsense. But it's 2-1, and you're thinking, great, injury time, got a goal back, get in, you know, a foot back in the game. And Everton get the ball from, you know, off Watford again, break again and get another corner, Luca Dean this time.
And, well, it comes from, so I think it actually comes from a long ball forward, and Calvert-Lewin wins a really good header, knocks it back to Richarlison, who just can't get there. Watford clear, but Holgate charges out of defence, steps out, and he plays a brilliant pass. And it was similar to what he did against Brighton when Calvert-Lewin scored.
He slid them in,
but obviously, and he just plays that kind of no-look pass, and it's no one else. The thing is, none of our midfielders have been doing that.
No,
I can't think Sigurdsson can. I think Delph can, but they just weren't doing that at the time. So Holgate took it into his own hand, and that's it. He really drove us on.
It's committing players. Exactly. By him stepping forward and going past one,
stepped out.
everyone moves forward, so you're pushing them back.
And, you know, it's a good cross, and a decent cross anyway, but obviously it just did the job of getting the corner. That's the best thing you can really hope for.
Yeah, that's all he had to do from there, and then obviously Sigurd, and then you're thinking, what the hell?
I know.
You know, these are rocking here. The corner comes in, Dharma Deda by Mina, brilliant, into the net. Cathcart should do better, but that's what we saw Mina doing in the World Cup.
And I think in a weird way, I think not that what happened against Newcastle is in any way positive. It isn't. I can't I've still fallen out with them over it. I can't get over it. But I think because that happened to us, we knew that, hang on, 2 goals in 2 minutes isn't
a thing.
We can do it. We've just had it done to us. So I think it was kind of like, well, we know that it can happen. So
I just think it was
go for it.
Perfect retribution. You know, we concede 2 in injury time against Newcastle, and we get it.
If only we'd have had 2 centre-halves to bring on like
very un-Everton though. You know, normally it's the other way round. Yeah. Normally, you know, we'd score 2 in injury time, and then the next game we concede 2 in injury time. But 2-2 at the break, you know, when you're thinking we've got out of jail a little bit there because we haven't been great. I mean, they hadn't done anything either.
No.
But they were 2-0 up on the strong side. Get in 2-2, and then we came out the second half, and I thought we were excellent. We were on it from the first whistle. They were panicking. We get that free kick.
We had that 5-10 minutes, didn't we? After where we were
just
on
pressed
top
brilliantly, and they were just giving. Foster was kicking it anyway. They were panicking. We get the free kick. Sigurdsson whips in the one you spoke about before, and it fizzes just over the bar off Cathcart, and they are rocking on the heels. You know, and
I think that's what we need to do as well. Like, we didn't really have it against Newcastle, but we do have these. But we've had this under successive managers as well. You know, we have these periods of game, like 5-10 minutes, and it's like if we don't get that goal, the momentum just ebbs out, and it is that happens in football. Where it's like a good team keeps up that pressure, And I think, like the first 20 minutes of the second half, I can't really complain. I can't think of anything that we did particularly badly. They didn't have a sniff at the other end.
They didn't do anything. We'd had a couple where we broke as well, and Cathcart had made 2 brilliant interceptions. Just Don would have had 2 tap-ins.
Yeah, and when we finally made the change, which I think were the right time, Keane did come on just after the hour.
Keane come, although he was tired. He brought
70.
Keane on.
And then it was just sod's law that I was thinking that Everton, that, you know, we're on top, we've finally made that attacking change, and then
Were you surprised with the attacking change? Not with the attacking change, because I thought Keane would be the first sub. But the fact that he seemed to put Keane on the left-hand side and left Richarlison where...
Yeah, and I thought...
it was a bit weird
but maybe I think it was a weird one for me, but I think that maybe it was just that he wanted Richarlison up against those 2 Grock centre-halves for now. I don't know, maybe... Or maybe the plan was to get Keane on, get him into the game a bit, and then make another change. Maybe bring Bernard on and maybe take one of the strikers off, I don't know, and play it that way. Maybe it was just a phase thing. But obviously, once the red card happens, then that
the red card, Luca Dean gives Delph I don't know why he done this against West Ham as well. It's some sloppy passes.
The first one.
So the first booking gives Delph he doesn't give Delph a very good ball. It's for me, that ball needs to go down the line.
Definitely.
And then we just get set. But he slides it inside, but it's too far ahead of Delph. But Delph, we're talking about a 30-year-old Premier League winner.
I think the first booking is probably the harsher of the 2 because it just looks worse than it is. Like on foot, because he's come from behind. But he does get the ball, but then he catches him on the follow-through. So I agree that it's probably a booking, but the kind of most of the chat has been about the second one harsher. I think the second one's a definite booking because he's gone through and he's kicked him.
I don't even think the second one's a foul.
But,
for me, I've watched it about 15 times. He doesn't even touch it.
I'd have given Delph a booking purely for being
that was what I said. That was what I said. But I just think the first one, the minute you leave the floor, it's a booking. And we've seen red cards for that. And when they've done a possible red card, it wouldn't have surprised me if VAR had given him a red. Because we've seen like Longstaff getting sent off earlier in the season, a couple of others who've gone for it and followed through. He does get the ball. He does get the ball, but you can't jump in with that action. You just can't. And it was stupid for me because I think if he'd just carried on running alongside him, he'd have been able to get round him anyway. And I know he was frustrated. But I think he's got to, if we've bought him for the reason we have, he's the one that has to show other players what you do. So if you're a young player like Richarlison or Moise Keane or Tom Davies, who's a midfielder looking at him, or Anthony Gordon, whatever, he's the example. Don't dive in, I've done it all. And top players who've won stuff lead by example, so others follow their example. And yet he's jumping in for no reason. It was stupidity. But you're absolutely right, the second one, he should have got a yellow card for being stupid. Rather than, when you look at it again, he gets the ball, he doesn't even touch Capuy. Capuy
Yeah.
does what he will do and makes the
And-
most.
and-
The linesman's really poor, because
Yeah.
the linesman gives it, the ref doesn't even give it, and he's flagging as if
Yeah.
it's a big mad foul.
I mean, yeah, and
But
Paulson's...
what's he doing, Delph? The
pretty
ball
stupid.
is running down the line. There's no danger. Screen him.
Yeah.
Stay with him.
Because he's done everything right. He's
Exactly,
got
he's got goals.
And he's left-sided Delph anyway, so
Yeah.
all he has to do is shuffle to his left side a
Exactly.
bit. Closes down the angle for Capuy. All Capuy they can do then is go back.
Yeah.
The worst he can do is go back.
Exactly.
Or Delph gets to it and prods it out for throwing, which
Yeah.
is what he just tries to do anyway. And he just this stupid kick out, and I've...
But there's
honestly, I was done with him at that point. I was
Yeah.
at that stage of like, I don't want to see him.
But
in
there's
Everton
two
shirt
things
again,
though
but
there, isn't there,
calm
Patrick?
down.
There's two things. One is, why is he making the challenge when he's on a booking? And
Yeah.
you know what that referee's like,
Yep.
Paulson, he's horrific. And he hates Everton. I hate him after the Wolves game, the first game of last season, when he sent Jags off for nothing. And he's never been any good since. He's been terrible, and he was terrible again on Saturday. But why give the referee the opportunity to book you when you've been booked? It's ridiculous. And secondly, even if he doesn't get booked, he's given a team who are massive a free kick in a dangerous area,
Yep.
which is what you don't
Yep.
do. And that's
Well,
what...
we do it.
Well, we do, yeah. But that should be, surely, in your build-up all week,
Yep.
or on a Friday, whenever they do the tactics, one of the things when you're playing a team that are all 6'10"
Don't concede a
is
set piece.
don't give silly free kicks
Yep.
away and corners away. And silly free kicks are parallel with your penalty area,
Yep.
because they can bend it in, they'll all overload you, and it's an attempt at goal. And he dives in, and it's like, okay, he gets the ball, he does, and I don't understand, and someone, probably one of our viewers, will tell me different, but I don't understand why VAR can't say to the referee there, that isn't a booking, he's got the ball.
Yeah, I think it...
Do you know what I
It's a
mean?
weird one, because I don't know if it's
Because if it was a red card,
yeah,
it'd be swerved.
I don't know if it's because it wasn't a straight red,
Yeah, so they can't.
so they can't check
So
yellows.
fair
It's
enough,
one of
that's
them,
right,
but it's... it's
But when you
ridiculous,
see it
isn't
again, I mean, he gets his foot on the ball, so I
Yeah.
think Paulson, looking at it again, I think, actually, he
Yeah.
did get
Well,
it.
it's one of
But
them.
you're right.
The linesman should be helping him out there. I mean...
But he should be
even if
sent
you
off
give
for
him
being
free-
stupid.
Yeah, but he was one of them things, and I was just like... he was
Unnecessary,
topping up,
wasn't it?
Get to list,
It
yeah.
wasn't like the lad was running through
No.
and he's had to take him for
Exactly.
the team. We seen one last season where Luca Dean took
Yeah,
at
against Huddersfield, and he
like
had to
the
do
lad
it,
down
yeah.
on when he had to. There he didn't, there was no danger.
No.
So you're thinking 20 minutes left, down to 10 men. These are, we've given them a foothold back in the game
Yeah.
that they didn't really deserve.
Yeah.
They'd done nothing. They tried many. They brought success had come on, and
Yeah.
they tried different things. They were gone two up front. They even brought Danny Welbeck, got a witch doctor
But
to
when
make him fit.
when he came on, I was like, for God's sake.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
you just... And then with Del sending off, it was just like...
It's inevitable, isn't it?
So
But I thought the manager dealt with it straight
I
away.
I think he made the right
Calvert-Lewin off,
Yep.
which surprised me a little bit, only... Not that Dom hadn't really had a very good game. I don't know whether he was still carrying an injury from
Yeah.
half, because he got hurt on half time. In fact, when we got the corner, he was limping.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't up to speed.
I think he was one of the, like, Ferguson had probably taken Keane off again, wouldn't he, in that sense of, like, not because it was
height-wise, I was thinking, because Dom's so good in the air.
Something like that. So it would maybe... I thought the initial change might be Walcott, but I mean, I'm glad it wasn't. But again, I think the reason Walcott's in is because of that pace.
It's the pace, isn't it?
Calvert-Lewin's quick, but he isn't as quick as Theo when he gets going. So
He
was
doesn't
one of
go
them.
in straight lines, that's the problem.
And the thing then again with Calvert-Lewin is, because of the shape we went in, we kind of went into like a 4-4-1. So it's either Richarlison and Keane playing wide, so
Yeah.
you're all Calvert. So whatever, you've got two players playing out of position for the sake of just having a lad up top, when really all we needed to do was
to chase it. And
chase
Keane,
it,
they
so-
put Richarlison went over to the left. Keane went through the middle.
Yeah, and played really
Theo
well
was,
as well.
He did, he done well. And Michael Keane came on, and was excellent.
We're
Just
getting it right.
everything.
So,
That's what he's good at, though.
We had no subs to... what we could do then is sit... But it kind of rallied us, that red card. Probably gave us a bit more kind of... Oh, the world's against us and everything like that, because the players clearly felt aggrieved by it as well. Fair play. We kind of moved back that 5 yards. Like you said, Keane can come on. He doesn't have to. He still turns like a bus, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't have to think about what's behind him. Everything's in front of him, and we've got the height coming on. So again, you maybe don't lose Dom there as well. And the thing is, you can put Holgate in midfield, who I know he played there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes ultimately, but I just think he showed up the rest of them again. He just, and there were one where he got a booking, didn't he, for just kicking someone. but it was needed at that point. And I think it was either just after or just before we'd scored, and he just did it on the halfway line. It don't matter there is no danger because it's going to be a straight ball
and
into
you've
the
got
straight
people
ball.
who can defend it.
Because we actually stood it as well at this time, unlike against Newcastle, where we just let him get the angle. We actually stood it. And yeah, Holgate went in there and then just we had that shield. And it was still, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was still kind of, backs to the wall and a bit last ditch like we always are, and, a bit of panic. But in general, we did really well. I think, after Delph sent off, I can think of like two chances, that Watford had, and both were Decore shots from the edge of the box. Both were volleys, I think. One went one side and one went the other.
One and he sliced the other one, yeah.
And then from their next free kick, obviously, is where the goal comes from. So
I thought we reset really well after the goal. I think I didn't feel.
Well, we just looked in a shape.
I didn't feel an air of inevitability, which I have done in the past. I just thought, well, if we can get out with a point, 10 then, you want to win games, but if you can't win, you don't lose. And we'd had 2 counter-attacks that just hadn't come off.
Yeah.
And we were still going for it, and I was encouraged by that, thinking, it's good the way we're still having a go here, rather than just kicking it and hanging on.
The thing is, we had the 3, and because they've all got pace, and because Watford were pushing high, and we were just sitting back, we had that 3 then just as a front 3. Even though we were playing as a 4-4-4-1, we had those because of the pace of
they were breaking quickly, weren't they? And then Schneiderlin was on, obviously, height him, and Holgate was screening, so we were breaking out quite well. But you're right, we were having to defend as well. And apart from the 2 Decore shots, there was just one where they'd flick through and headed on him. We all seemed to be a bit of pinball. We cleared it, but then we get the goal, don't we? Michael Keane clears a ball in. It gets knocked up, and then Moise Keane does really well to pinch
I think it's been overlooked because of obviously what happens afterwards, but he does brilliantly, and it kind of reminded me of the Sigurdsson goal we scored against West Ham early in the season, where Keane kind of got his body in the way and just got to it first.
Got to it,
and the thing is with him, he were a heavy touch from whichever Watford player was, I can't remember, and he just managed to get his toe to it and prods it, and then obviously Richarlison's there, and Richarlison does brilliantly. And at that point in the game, at 90th minute, when he's been working, he might not have had a brilliant game, and he didn't, but
he worked his socks off though.
And he worked hard, and then to have the legs and the awareness and the fitness and the pace to take two or three players with him. And he actually draws the defender over as well, because I thought when he delayed the pass too long, it's really clever because it's a good touch and he gets out of his feet and it draws the other defender over and it just leaves that gap then to put it through. Yeah. And he has the composure to pick the pass as well. Yeah,
it was a great boy, brilliant break. Like you say, Keane nicks it brilliantly and then sets off, and Richarlison gets it out of his feet brilliantly. His first 2 touches takes him away from the defenders.
And he could have gone down as well. There was a point where he getting tugged and he might have gone down before that. And, I'm sure if we were 3-2 up at that stage, he would have gone down. But he just carried on because he saw the chance with him.
He had the opportunity. It was brilliant. But good ball to Moise Keane. Brilliant awareness by Keane to find Walcott.
Yeah.
Now, good ball in. Keane obviously swings at it with his left foot.
But you don't mind, it's his weaker foot. And it'd
have been lovely for him to dink it over the keeper, but it doesn't matter, does it?
Luckily, it doesn't matter. And obviously, if it could have been very different, we'd have been talking about a glaring missed chance to win it. But the point is that it wasn't, because Walcott had followed it up, and they worked as a front three. They worked in tandem. And
Walcott's probably the only player that could have got on the end of that, by the way, the pace,
And we haven't seen that this season enough, and obviously, with Ancelotti coming in now, hopefully that's something that, that he's gonna carry on. And I saw a piece on the Athletic, to plug it. I saw a piece on the Athletic the other day, or yesterday, about Walcott saying that they'd all been to the Ivy restaurant, all the players. And kind of it was a team organised thing. And
the Christmas party thing.
Whatever you'd think of that, like, maybe that there is at least that team spirit there. And I think it proved it in that goal, that it was like, we're all going to follow each other up here. And, and obviously it's paid off. And again, Walcott was poor, but I don't think it was massive worse than anyone else. He just had a 6 out of 10 game.
It was a workman-like performance that you have to do. You have to battle roll your sleeves. With Watford, don't forget, before Saturday, were unbeaten at home under Pearson. They'd had 4 wins they'd won 4 of the last 5, hadn't they? They'd drawn with Spurs
against Villa as well.
They were, Everton. They were looking to beat Everton for the first time in 4 years, 4 consecutive wins on the run they'd never done before, and different things. And And it was a tough one down to 10 then against them. And to break like that, and the ball rolls across and you see Walcott and then you're holding your breath. Can he finish it? When he smashes
Never
it
any
in.
doubt.
And then obviously there's limbs in our end, unbelievable.
Oh, like if there'd have been no defender there and if Ben Foster were 10 yards off the line, and he'd have taken the touch, I'd have actually think he'd probably miss it there. He's one of them players when he's got split second to think about things.
Instinctive finishes, he's better than having to think.
Yeah, and he did really well, because again, when I was thinking then, when I saw the replay, I was like, God, is he offside? Because he got there so quickly. But he held his run, and again, he's just like backing each other up, and we haven't seen that enough from us, and the best teams always do that.
And it was the celebrations that you could see with the goal, what it meant. Everyone's the Schneidling, sprinting and diving, and Moise Keane screaming
and
on the floor, they're all the fans, and everything going off. It's incredible. Shows you what it means and how important it was. Just want to pick up on a couple of players you highlighted there, if I can find my thing. Mason Holgate. Yerry Mina, sorry, is the first one. 2 goals. He hadn't scored, like I said, until Saturday. He'd had the most attempts without scoring a goal. But I thought he was excellent at the weekend. I don't get when people criticise him, because he's been Everton's Everton's best player all season. So I'm not saying lately. I mean, Holgate's been amazing lately.
I can't think of any game that he's had. The thing is with Mina, I think it's when I agree that I think he's been our most, maybe definitely one of our top 3 players. And he's just, I can't think of any game that he's been amazing in. I can't think of one game that he's really stood out as being, he was immense. But he's just been really consistent, and that's what you want from your centre back, isn't it? And he's had moments obviously where he could have done better, but I think finally getting those 2 goals will do in the world of good, because how we've turned him into a 50p head since he came one of the top scorers at World Cup, wasn't he? And then we've signed him and he just forgot how to head the ball. But
it was back at the weekend. 72 touches, 2 goals, 43 successful passes, 23 successful forward passes. 4 successful long balls, passing accuracy 75%, which is one of the top 5 players. 5 ball recoveries, 5 aerial duels, 1, which you'd expect.
I mean, Deeney didn't really have a sniff against him either.
No, I've seen someone saying Deeney played well against him.
Deeney did one thing, which was when Delph passed it to him and he passed it through. That's all Deeney had.
I don't think he'd done anything. He had them in his pocket. And then 4 headed clearances, 2 successful tackles and 2 fouls suffered. So a solid performance. Scored a brace, obviously, as Joe's put there, and hopefully that's got that off his back now, and he will become. The goals will come, and he's been denied a few times this season by unbelievable saves. He's missed chances that he should score. Newcastle at 2-0, he headed one wide which he should have buried. So hopefully now he's got his his eye in, as they say. Hopefully that'll be we'll get more of that, because if he can get half a dozen goals a season, which he should really decide, and it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, and it's not, you shouldn't be looking at your defenders for goals, but like I said last time, I think I went here, Keane and Mina get that many chances. They should be scoring 5 or 6 goals.
People think of like when we had Lescott,
exactly,
double figures, and you're way too young, but when we won the league in the 80s, Derek, man, we got 15 goals from centre back, and things like that. So it's about making, and he gets. It's not like he doesn't get the chances. He gets in the right areas. It's about being having the composure.
I hope there's a bit of confidence now with that, because I think defensively, I've been really impressed with him this season. I never really even had any doubts last year. I think he got a lot of unfair criticism at times last year, but you've got to think first season, injuries, and then when he played, I don't think him and Zuma ever really worked together as a partnership, in the sense that I think they're both front foot defenders, and you need a bit of a mix there. Now him and Holgate Mina and Holgate seem to work together, because Holgate's got that bit of pace, and Mina can just concentrate on being the aggressor.
The battles,
And then it was a bit like that last year with Keane and Zuma towards the end of the season. Obviously a bit different, that neither of them had like Holgate, I'd say, but they had that mix, and I just don't think Mina and Keane and Mina and Zuma ever really worked together. And then he was in and out of the side anyway due to injuries. And then obviously we went on that good run when he wasn't in the side, but when that good run started last year, it started with that Chelsea win, really, because we beat Cardiff, didn't we, and then we lost to Newcastle in ridiculous circumstances.
Liverpool lost to Newcastle.
And then
But Mina played against Chelsea.
But Mina played against Chelsea, played really, really well. And he got injured in the international break, didn't he? So it was like people forgot about him again, and it was like, I saw shouts in the summer. It's like, he's wasting money, and we need to get rid of him again. And it's like,
he's played 27 games now this season. So,
and he's had bad moments, but overall, I think he's been really, really good.
Yes. The defensive partner you just talked about there, Mason Holgate, brilliant again. Joe's put future captain. It's something me and Ped were speaking about last week. We can certainly see him in that role. Saturday, 71 touches, 48 successful passes, 29 successful forward passes, 81% pass accuracy, 8 ball recoveries, 5 aerial duels, 4 clearances, was fouled 3 times, 2 interceptions, 1 successful tackle, 1 successful dribble. This is a lad that's got into the side, and now that he's at that run, his first real proper run at centre-back, playing for Everton.
In his proper position,
position, he's looking every inch the Everton defender, isn't he? You know, he's bringing balls down on his chest, loads of composure, went into midfield, like we said, and looked like he belonged there as well. And a classic case for me of a lad that has got his opportunity, is comfortable in his surroundings, and because he's been allowed to play, he's got up to speed and developed, because he's had to play. You know, and because Michael Keane hasn't had a great season, and that's why he got in, and him and Mina have had a really good partnership.
They suit each other as well, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the first position, one of the first positions we need to target in the summer is a centre half, but it's not for the fault of either Mina or Holgate. It's just to give us options. I'd be more than happy to go with Mina and Holgate as a first choice partnership, and I haven't given up on Michael Keane. I just think you need a player with a bit more pace there, because then it gives us that option, like I said, if we need to ever move him into midfield. But
we'd need another one with pace, wouldn't we? That's the thing.
And ideally a bit more stature about him. But again, I've got nothing wrong with him. Then again, we can just maybe solve that by going out and getting a proper presence in midfield and having that.
And giving that bit of protection.
And we'll have to see what happens with Gabamina when Gomez comes back, obviously, in a few weeks. He must have been on some of Jurgen's juice to getting him back there quickly.
Gomez?
Allegedly. But we've got. I think he's been brilliant.
Talk of a new contract as well, which deservedly so, and
definitely.
Certainly someone I could easily see him with the armband on. I think he's got the arrogance. I think he's got. He doesn't mind a battle.
To be fair, I agree. I just don't think there needs to be any rush with it.
No.
At the same time, like, I'm happy for him to be, even if he ain't got the armband, he's acting like a captain anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to see him playing well, let him focus on playing his game. If he carries on, not that there's any particular rush for it, if he carries on playing like this, he'll get in that England squad. I think that you can't be ignoring him. But again, I don't really mind if he doesn't or not.
No.
It'd be nice. It would be nice to see him get in, because I think he deserves it. But I'm happy for him to stay focused on Everton, not risk any other injuries that aren't needed. He's proving just what a good player he is.
Excellent. I'm absolutely delighted for him, and he's always wanted to do well at Everton. I remember me and Pet spoke to his dad last year sometime at Finch Farm, and his dad was, he wants to play for Everton, he wants to do well before he went out on loan. I think the loan has been fantastic for him.
Yeah, because obviously he played in a side where he played a lot of right back, didn't he? But mainly, or even right wing back, I think at times. But I think that in the sense of Holgate, like we talk about our young players going to Germany and things like that, and I think that for attacking players, that's definitely something. Then for you, this is how you maybe look at loans, and then for your defensive players, you can send them somewhere like the Championship and get them in a team which is going to have to do a bit of defending, but also they can express themselves. I think with Holgate, maybe the loan more than anything has made him realise that it's given him that confidence and self-belief to think, well, I've gone to a team and they were really impressed with him at West Brom. They wanted to sign him. And I've gone there and proved myself, and now I've got that confidence to come back and do it. And I think maybe it was also giving him a bit, I don't want to say kick up the arse, but do you know what I mean? Like kind of a bit more impetus and drive to think, no, I've got to make it work here, because it's easy to then go into the Championship and drop down and have to work your way back up again. And it's like, well, actually, I'm already at Everton. I need to make the most of this opportunity, even though he's always been keen to do it. And then with the confidence that he's got from the loan, he's come in and thought, I'm good enough. I'm good enough to do this.
I think it would do that. I think you'd naturally go to another club and go, well, I'm at Everton, and it's a big club, we're in the Premier League. But I think West Brom's a big, side club, good crowd behind them. I think the loans.
He played big games as well.
Yeah, exactly. The lad who missed the penalty in the playoff, semi-final, and he's took it on. They still love him. Took it on the chin. No one, But I think playing in front of a big crowd every week and seeing that had to win games and having that responsibility, you're right, it's proved to him he can do it. He's come back to Everton now can I belong here? They want me, which is great, but I want to belong here. And he's had to wait for his chance. He said, I remember him in pre-season talking, saying, I want to play. So I'll have to have a look what happens because I want to play now. I remember, listen, it's about getting the right loans for players, right? We had Seamus Coleman, all those years ago, went to Blackpool and played the full season, got them up, and then was Everton's right back. Leon Osman, back even further than that, Derby, went to Derby. You had Carlisle, come back, didn't really get a sniff, went to Derby. They loved him at Derby. One of the good mates of mine's a Derby season ticket holder, loved him. Said he's brilliant, and we were like, But he was a really good player for Everton, Leon Osman, and had a good... You know, we've had people like Brendan Galloway, who we had hopes for, went to West Brom and it didn't work. Where's he now? He doesn't even play for Luton, he's in and around the squad. So it's good loans and bad loans, isn't it? You know, Vlasic went out and never came back, you know, and things like that.
It was a good loan for him, though.
Good loan for him, and he's got a good move out of it, but I'm talking about benefiting Everton. John Joe Kenny's currently in Germany and doing really well, but do you see him as Everton's right back next season? I don't know. But it's about getting these players the right loans. You mentioned Anthony Gordon before, I think, when we were talking off air. You know, we talked about him potentially having a loan if he's not in and around the first team. It'd be important for him to go somewhere like Germany. I actually think maybe it's something we need to look at with Tom Davies. If he signed a 5-year deal, we want him to be part of Everton's future. He's not consistent enough at the moment. So is it benefiting him sitting on the bench and not being in the 18? How's he going to express himself? How's he going to grow as a player? It might be a case for him.
I think what maybe has stopped us with Davies is, and it feels a bit like 2 years too late now or whatever, is that...
He's only 21.
Exactly, not for his age maybe, but more of where he is at the club. Like, he is actually an important player for our squad, and it's kind of... I don't mean in this wrong way. He's got a bit of the Tom Cleverleys about him in that he kind of has never really nailed down a certain position. I still don't. I know he's not a left winger. I know he needs to play in the middle, but I don't know whether he's a holding player. In my mind, he's a box-to-box, but in a 3. And anything other than that, he seems to struggle to adapt, and that's a fault of managers and systems as well as his own limitations. But he shows a bit of everything. He shows grit to be a holding midfielder. He shows a nice pass to be a box-to-box, and he shows that ability to maybe pick a little ball to be not a number 10, but a more attacking player. So it's nailing down a position, but I think that works against him in terms of when we're thinking about who can we lose. It's like, well, can you afford the way that our injuries pile up and things? Imagine if we'd have loaned Tom Davies out this season.
I know, that's what we'd have to buy.
Exactly.
We'd have to buy
I've been
more
massively
mobile.
critical of Davies. I think he's...
But you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about his development. You've got to look at everything. If you want Tom Davies to be a better player for Everton Football Club, is he going to become a better player for Everton Football Club?
Well, we're going to have to make that decision this summer.
The odd game. All right, he's training with the first team every day. Of course, he's a first team player and an important player in our squad, like you said. But for him to develop and get to where we want him to get it, can you get that from 6 games a season when maybe Gabamman's going to be back and maybe Gomez is going to be back, and we will buy another centre midfielder in the summer, and you've also got Delph there. So there's 4 in his way immediately. All of a sudden, he's 5th choice. When really, if we're playing 4-4-2, we're only going to have 2 midfield players. So it's all about that for me.
There's a lot of decisions made.
Forward, so. Joe sent us this one, obviously. What should we be aiming for? There's 13 games to go. That's how the table is. I love the way he's cut the top bit off. Well in, Joe. Classic. Everton, obviously, 33 points, and we look at the European places. Well,
I mean, ridiculously, we're closer to the Champions League places than we are of the relegation zone at the moment. I think we're 11 points above the bottom 3, and obviously we're only 8 behind Super Chelsea. So, it is ridiculous this season. I just don't want to. I just want to take it game by game. Palace is a massively important game, really. But they all obviously are. But we can just focus it that way. I don't want to get of where we should be aiming or where we're not, because we just need to take it game by game and see where we are at the end of the season.
I think obviously the reason why Joe's asked this question is Carlo Ancelotti actually spoke about this on Saturday.
I'm sure the club. I'm sure he'll have his aims.
I mean, it'd be ridiculous though to say we're not focused on Europe. We're 4 points off 5th place. You know, with a win off 6th, Europe is going to go to 7th. Because, in my opinion, Man City are going to be filling in the Carabao Cup, and a big team's going to win the FA Cup. Who are already in Europe. So currently we're 2 points off 7th, but we're 3 points off the top 6.
And again we've won.
And it's Sheffield United. And that's no disrespect to Sheffield United. What I mean by that is it's not Man City or it's not Liverpool
Well,
or even
if
Leicester
not for
this
those
season.
2 minutes against Newcastle, obviously we would have still been worse off with goal difference, but would have been level on points.
Would have been
and
level.
You suddenly 3 points off fifth.
6 off the Champions League
So
places.
yeah, it's.
And we have got some. Don't get me wrong, we got some tough games. We're back in that run again.
In those tough games, though, to be honest.
But then Arsenal are much of a muchness, aren't they? Obviously, we'll have Liverpool in there to be tough and people like that. But United at home, I don't feel United
I don't really
at home,
feel.
so.
I was thinking this yesterday, actually, the other day. Well, I can't think of one team that I actually fear in the league really now anymore because I'm numb to them lot.
Yeah.
I like. When it's that thing with City, I've never been scared of City. I think I've still got that Moyes mentality of being like,
I always think
in my head, I'm like, we always beat them. We haven't beat them in about 6 years. But do you know what I mean? I'm not scared of any side, and that isn't because I don't think we're a particularly good side. We've got promise, and we've got some good moments in us, but it's just the rest of the league so dreadful. So we're definitely in there. But obviously, if Palace beat us, which I don't, touch wood they don't, but if Palace beat us at the weekend, then we're 13th.
It shifts again.
It could be 13th. Not that we're going to be looking over our shoulder. We're beyond that, but it's like this is what I mean. I'm just like take it game by game and then see where we are after that March international break, and then I think you can really focus.
Well, I think
because I do think if the push had been we need to get Europe this season, I think we'd have signed someone in January. So I think the club's point of view it'll be brilliant if we can, but let's just get something.
It's a big thing, though. If you get in the group stage, it's 12 million quid, FFP and everything, it all helps. But, yeah, I mean, obviously we have to take it game by game. But Evertonians, we know you can't ever look too far ahead. But it's certainly there, and I think it'd be ridiculous to kind of say, well, no, we're not looking for that, because there's not that many good teams above us. It's about consistency now.
There's 3 good teams above us. I don't count Chelsea. I think Chelsea
are at
good moment. Leicester, Leicester. Since that amazing, brilliant run that they went on, they've not been the same since.
And they were never gone. They were well punching above where they should have been, but they've had a great season.
In my mind, there's two good teams in the league, and there's 2 good teams. Those 2 teams are at the top. So, yeah, it's all much of a muchness. So it's just for me, get the 3 points against Palace, see where we are after the winter break and the March international break, and then go from there. Really.
Do you see Watford getting out of it?
Well, they've lost. I think you look at how they've lost the last 2 games, and they were last minute against Villa and last minute against us. So, but they've got it's that size and the power of them that I still think they've got more than some of the teams around them. But I don't know. Yeah, to be honest, it's hard to predict. I think Norwich are the only ones that you can say with any real certainty are down. I think the others are all.
I think Watford. I personally.
But again, I
think Watford will be fine.
It's 2 wins into gets you right up the table, and again, that's why we've just got to focus on winning our games and seeing where we're at. So.
Yeah, big game Saturday, that's for sure, against Crystal Palace. Big thanks to Patrick. Let us know what you think in the comments. Delighted with this result. Can we get Europe? Well, we can. Do you think we'll get Europe? And he was your man of the match. Yeah, there you go. Like I say, big thanks to Patrick. Make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and if you want more videos, join us over on Patreon. Thanks for watching. See you later.